Hi. A few years ago, there was a movement called the 99%, and I don't know what happened to it. It seemed like there was a lot of concern about the growing wealth gap between the 1% and the 99%, and then it seemed to fizzle out. I'm not sure what happened to it. I've been very concerned by it, and I've been following people like Thomas Piketty and other economists who tried to explain it and or at least analyze it. And I think in some ways it's understandable, but when I came down here about 5 years ago to West Plains in southern Missouri, it seemed like the economic stimulus had passed us by, and maybe it's because it's a rural community and the rate of circulation of money is not that great here, and there's a lot of charity and a lot of people doing things, doing favors for favors, and so there's not really a lot of money. But then there's also large companies that used to be here and now they've moved out of state or they've moved to a different country, and there are more that are closing here now. So whilst some people say that the economy is getting better, I think it's going to be a long time for areas like this to improve. Now, one of the things that came to me a few years ago was this idea of giving equity away to the first customers that buy a product in a new business, therefore making them shareholders in a brand new company. And I went to a very smart, intelligent attorney here in town, and he helped me develop this mechanism that we call fanShare. And initially I thought the idea of fanShare was purely crowdfunding, but I see the danger in using equity to crowdfund just an idea, because it may not turn into a product in the end of the day, and then a lot of people lose out. And so it seems to me like crowdfunding through donations, where at least people are not expecting anything in return, is a more honest way of raising the money if you're going to go through the crowdfunding route. Having said that, I still think that there's an obligation on the part of the people receiving those donations to make a promise to the people that donated the money that they might actually get something back if and when a product is developed and put out on the market. So that's really where fanShare comes in. And fanShare is the idea that you create a company around just one product, and I believe it could also be used for a fixed price service. But let's just say it's a product. Let's just say it's a CD, for example, and it's created by a songwriter and a band and a producer and a record studio and an engineer, and let's say there's 10 people involved in making that CD. Well, they make it happen, they create the product, and then the people that first buy that CD are the ones that really launch that product into the public domain. They're the ones that get it really started. And I think that both the people that create the product and the first people that buy the product should receive some of the equity. Now, whether that's a 80-20 split or a 90-10 split or a 70-30 or 50-50, that will depend on the project, on the item. And then for the 10 people that went into making that CD, the songwriters, the musicians, the producer, the engineer, all of them put differing amounts of work and time and creativity into the product, and so their share of ownership of that company that's based around just that one product would be different also. So that's where I'm at, and I've tested it out with a few different products, and I set up a website. And then recently what happened was a payment processing company got in contact with me, and the guy that I spoke to liked the idea and suggested that I take it to the next level, which would be to create an API, meaning that if the band, for example, creates their own website, they list their CD on the website, but they've also got t-shirts and hats and other merchandise. They want to offer one of their products as a fanShare product, but the other products are not included in the offer. And so an API would enable them to give equity away to those customers that first bought that CD, but also enable them to sell their own products on their own website without having to come to a website that I created, which would be quite restrictive. So that's where I'm at, and I'm creating this message really because I need help in doing that. And whether it's someone who can actually write the software and help me create this API, or if it's people who just want to donate money to help me employ someone to make it. Whatever help you think you might be able to offer, I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, this has been an idea that I've put into practice over the last 3 years, but really it started a long time ago. And I guess when I think about wealth and the sharing of wealth, I often think about an example where, for example, let's say I've got 5 acres of pasture here, right? And I could maybe raise 10 cows, milk cows, and they would have calves and produce milk, and any profit that I would start to make off selling the milk, I would pay some out in wages, so I'd have an income coming through in the sale of milk. I'd be able to pay out wages, so there'd be a flow of money there. But I'd want to keep some of that money back in a financial asset in order to buy some more cows, buy some more land, increase production, keep the company growing. Now there may come a time in the future when I decide to retire, and so I close the company, I sell the cows, I lay off the employees, and the wealth that I've created in the herd that I sell off, all that money would come to me because I'm the owner of the business. And I think this is partly the reason why this wealth gap gets created, is because under the current rules and regulations, that is fair. I own the herd, I employ the people, and they have no risk. I take all the risk, and so that seems fair. But I'm wondering if there isn't maybe a slightly more nuanced approach in terms of saying to the people that help me create the wealth that they should get something back. Now I could do that voluntarily, I could, but maybe a system which includes some agreement right from the get-go would not only be fairer, but it would be more motivational too. So the people helping me right at the start would feel motivated to help grow the company. They would have more of a lifelong investment and a willingness to invest their time and maybe even be more productive, because they would know that their efforts would be doubly rewarded, not only through income but also through through wealth sharing. And if you look at other companies that have been successful, this is often what happens. Now, milk is one of those products which has an ongoing demand for, but there's a lot of products out there where the product is somewhat finite, or at least the product reaches a point of saturation where once everyone's bought one, the number of people that are buying new items of that same product becomes fewer. And so the company reaches a point where it's not selling as many as it used to. It starts laying off employees and maybe reduces down, and then diversifies into either other products or reinvents the same product. It does the same thing over again. The other thing that happens with a lot of retail products is that the early adopters, the people that first buy that product, pay sometimes 5 or 10 times the amount that the product is really worth. Mainly because the company wants to recoup its research and development costs at that early stage, or as soon as possible. So it's unfair to those people that first buy into that product too. Not only do they pay more, but they don't receive any equity in the company, no thanks. Maybe they receive a discount off their next purchase. But again, things seem out of balance, and I'm on a mission to not completely change things, but just maybe make things a little bit better or a little fairer, and maybe encourage some people to start a business or launch a new product that wouldn't have done it before, and also give them a marketing tool that says to their first customers, hey, if you believe in me and you believe in this product, I'm going to give you a little share of equity in this company, and you'll get dividends for the next 10 years or 20 years, you know. So that's it. If you want to know more, you know, send me an email. I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'll just say God bless. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day, and if you feel like helping, let me know. Thank you.